Stop Ranch and our special coverage of the inaugural Grand National Truck Show. We went ahead and chose to go on Sunday, and it turned out to be a little rainy and drizzly. And here are the few brave vendors that were out in the morning, right as they opened the gate, and some of their display vehicles outside. Now, the rain definitely kept away a lot of the outside displays, and a small percent the crowd early on, which was perfect for us for filming. Not so perfect if you wanted to show off your truck, but we can't have everything we want. And we saw just about every genre, type, and currently popular or recently popular in the last 30-year style. And, street rod to patina lowrider. So I think it was an excellent example, and quite honestly, in the contenders, they did a nice job of representation. But we'll get there shortly. Start off with a few very small smattering of notable trucks that stood out to me that were not contenders for the overall title of America's Most Beautiful Truck. I really like this two-door Suburban. I know the barn door back. I like these trucks. Actually, a three-door one would be a wonderful addition to our fleet here at the Pit Stop Ranch. If and when we ever get one, I have no idea. But it'd be a great little tow rig with room for stuff in the back to keep it. Now, this four-door quad cab, crew cab conversion C10, it was something that jumped out to me. Actually, I thought it was excellently executed. And it definitely fits with the more modern taste, where you have the quad cab with the shortened bed on a half-ton chassis. Kind of, it's a little dated. You can definitely tell that by the style. I mean, it's definitely late aughts, early. It's like the 20 teens. But I like it. I like the fact that it doesn't riding on the ground. It's a good setup. Here is a work in progress that is a little different. It is clearly, obviously, being built up kind of as an off-road rig. It is a crew cab Ford dent side. So, we're talking about late 60s, early 70s Ford on a totally custom chassis. Yeah, it looks like it'll be a really good rig when it's done. Now, this company, LSD, they specialize in doing the sort of conversions, and it looks like they specialize doing them with Ford. So you have a couple full-size Broncos, dent side, bump side, Ford pickups, set up for, basically old school style on newer chassis with newer drivetrains. And at the end of the day, if you are familiar with the Grand National Roadster Show, the big part of the show is to give these professional builders a venue to show their wares and drive up, find potential customers. And for those of us who don't have the financial resources, a place to go lust and see where the state of the industry is and get ideas for our own personal builds that we want to try and attempt at home, because, if I can see it, I can build it, gosh darn it. I'll let that sit and percolate with you all for a little bit. However, you get a chance to, and I like this one here because you still got used to the bed. You're not necessarily going to use the bed for anything, but whatever. Really cool Studebaker, obviously, with the matte brown. It kind of gives a primer feel, but it's too well finished for that not to be the final coat. And I like just the simplicity of it. Now, 454 SS, box stock, low mileage. I remember when these trucks were new and being amazed that GM could do such a thing given the onerous emissions and fuel economy requirements. And here we have one. And I don't know, I just had to stop and take some time to film it. It's a pretty sweet ride. Well, I filmed everything, but this made the cut for the video. Very clean, very nice. Very cool. I got way more GMs. I wonder what that tells you about you. Anyways, we got this really nice Chevy here. Very kind gentleman showing it off. The other thing that I guess appealed to me were, I guess you could say, were trucks that had reasonable ride heights. Lowered is cool. I dig lowered, but I'm not a fan of bags. I won't lie to you. I'm not a fan of airbags. Reason is, if you drop it so the rail's on the ground, and you develop a leak in your system because it's been sitting a long time, good luck. Just good luck. Now, those guys know what to do. They've figured out how to deal with it. That's a problem they have. They'll adapt. But from my perspective, I think go ahead and lower it, but leave enough room that it's drivable and usable. That's my take on it. Here's some once again, this is a builder's booth showing off a couple examples of their wares. And this company here actually, when we get to it, this builder here, they actually built the overall winner for the show. So spent a little time at their booth checking them out, and the different examples they have of the trucks they've built for customers. I think they're all excellently executed, tastefully done, and all the things that the judges identified as why the actual winner won. And once again, you got the little bump in the middle, but it's a usable bed. Not that you're going to put engine back there or anything like that, but you still have some usable volume if you want to throw some groceries back there and a cooler and some chairs or something. You can actually kind of almost use it, and that's I find that attractive. I know maybe I'm a simpleton when it comes to stuff like this. I mean, after all, you're not actually going to use any of this stuff. You're not going to use a blown small block to go haul groceries, and especially with a $25,000 paint job. But you got the pretense of something you can use. And here's a kick-ass Willys gasser that I guess they built. It is a Willys pickup truck, so it still fits with the overall show theme of everything being a truck of some sort. So, and I mean, come on, that's just freaking awesome. Now we're going to go ahead and jump in and start covering the actual contenders for the show. And somewhere you should see, I'll flash the flag, but here is an OBS Chevy. That it is a contender. There's the flag marking that the display is, it's a contender for the actual trophy. And get an idea for all of these trucks. An immense amount of effort has gone into to make them perfect. There's a tremendous amount of innovation. Some of it is just bolt-on stuff they got, but a full-on inboard braked independent rear suspension. That's good. That's nice. This one here, I won't lie, it's a nice truck. Anyone who owns it should be proud of it. for some reason, of the contenders, this was my least favorite, and I can't exactly put my hand on it, my finger on why it's not. It's obviously incredibly well built. The creators and the owners have everything to be proud of with it. It's a extremely well designed and put together vehicle. Yeah, I just can't put quite. It's not my taste. It doesn't. It's not really working for me, you know. And I don't. Maybe you can comment down below. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can tell me why this one here deserved to win. I can tell you right now, it's not the winner, but you can tell me. Tell me what you think of this contender for the trophy for the first ever America's Most Beautiful Pickup Truck. All right, now we're on to this one. I like it. I like the color. I like the presentation. I like the wheels. You know, it is hard to argue with a blown big block. Yeah, it's the same vintage as our Jimmy, so though it's a Chevy. So it's like a 48, and we'll probably see the detail right away. One giveaway that's a 48 is it doesn't have the wing windows. So all on a custom chassis. All right, our next contender is this pretty cool International with the blown flathead. Blown Hemi. I like the fact that we got something that is neither Chevy nor Ford. I got a soft spot for Internationals and for first gen Hemis. So you kind of got me right here. I'm kind of a sucker for this one. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite, but it's probably my top 3 I would have chose. And it's beautifully well executed. It's interesting because it's the same black as the more modern Chevy it doesn't work for me. But now we have this Jewel. You want to talk about how many tens of thousands of hours. I have some length on this channel praised the workmanship and attention to detail that lowriders get and get put into them. And this 80s S10 Blazer has every single thing that is pops on lowriders, and the sign says, you can't see it, but it says it took them 14 years to get this truck to where it is, and I believe it. I believe that they worked steadily for 14 years on it. I don't mean like they worked hard for 3 years, gave up on it, and then came back and did another, and then did let it sit for 10 years and then thrashed for a year to get it here. This is someone continuously picked something and focused on making it perfect and making it work. So I it's not exactly my taste. It's not what I would own. It's not what I would build. But I 100% respect just the incredible amount of jewel work and everything that the owner and the people who worked on it, who built it, the amount of love they put into it. So, and this is a great example of the diversity of the vehicles recognized, because not only do we have CK trucks like what my shop truck is, but we also have an S10 Blazer that's been gotten a lot of love and treatment. And now here's a pretty clean C10 short bed. Yeah, it's cool. it's it's shooting for some elegance. It's not overdone, but again, it's gonna ride on the rails, or it's gonna, you got to worry about is the airline, are the airlines gonna go. Now this Ranger, I believe was at the Grand National Roadster Show, and to be honest with you, there were a lot of vehicles here a lot of trucks here at this show that I remember having seen at the Grand National Roadster Show. And this is an example of extreme customization of a Ford Ranger, and I thought that was pretty cool, and I really think the name is fun. Stranger, it's a good name for a Ford Ranger, though one can say stranger danger and invoke a whole advertising campaign about not talking to strangers, but take with that what you will. But well presented, sharp looking truck. It's cool to see not just the usual half-ton pickups, but to see something a little different, which I always appreciate. And then you can see how much you can tuck right up there. See here, we got a 60s Ford. I think this is a unibody Ford. Yeah, this is the unibody Ford, which were only made for a couple years and were an utter disaster as a pickup truck. But I do think they are cool, and I think doing a custom like this is really cool. Obviously the bed is raised. The floor of the bed is raised to make room for the suspension, but it's still got something there. Again, this is the person who built this has $200,000 in their truck, so it's not going to be hauling plywood anytime soon, and it'll be a sad day when it does. Of course, this was actually a contender at America's Most Beautiful Roadster as well. It's a roadster pickup. And you got the Chrysler Firepower Hemi. It's beautifully executed, beautifully done. I do very much like this. This is top 4, top 5 of my favorites at the show. We're kind of on a bit of an early Ford kick, so combine that with my favorite overhead valve early hot rod engine, i.e. the first gen Hemi, and you got yourself a contender for the world's most beautiful truck. I like those wheels too, though I think the rear wheels are a little too big. I do like those wheels. Tell me what you think, guys. Comment down below. All right, here we got another early Ford. I think this is a 34. Now the thing is with the 34 commercial cabs and bodies, they were very, very similar to the 32. In fact, they ran a 32 commercial grill, and you can see that. See, 34 Ford pickup, and definitely like the setup. It's interesting that the full fenders. Now, I'm not too big on the stacks. I'm not a big stacks fan. But there you go. The pop-up bed, so you can access the stuff underneath it. Imagine it's a pretty common feature, but that's pretty cool. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a top 5 or anything else like that. Now, this one here, I kind of like that wave in the bed. You know what I'm saying? I like the way it is set up there for covering up the shape, and it fits between the rails like that. It does a nice setup. Now this is a F100 Camino package, which I kind of like the Camino tag on it. I mean, I know it just means truck, But yeah, the blown V8. Let's see what it tells us here. I'm sure, but I like it. It's a cool truck. Definitely worthy of the competition, but again, not like one of my favorites. Other than I do like that if you're gonna if you need to put a hump in your bed, I think that's a pretty good way of doing it. Now this one here, I love those multi-stacks. Thank you very much. The El Camino and the Ranchero are both sold as trucks, and that's something that. So it's definitely a worthy or an acceptable candidate. I never really think of them as trucks. I always think of them as cars. They're like a two-door station wagon without a cover over the back. That's always how I've thought of them. So, having them show up at a truck show, it's appropriate. It's fine. Not the way I think of them. But here we go. I do like that engine, though. I think that's very, very that big block in there with the 4 downdrafts. I think that's very sharp. I do dig it. Here's another Roadster pickup, and this one here was also at the Grand National Roadster Show. I don't think it was one of the contenders. If I'm wrong, tell me, please, down in the comments. Let us know. Be happy to tell us just how wrong and foolish we are. Never hesitate. Again, I like those wheels. I like it's a flathead Ford. No, it's not. I don't know what that is. Tell me in the comments. Tell me what engine that is. I actually do not recognize it. Okay, here's a nice, tasteful 56 Chevy. Very simple, well done. And when I say simple, I don't mean it's simplistic or simple. I think it just means it's not overdone. It's not simplistic, and it's interesting. I'll never make anything that beautiful. Not that I won't try, but I just don't. I won't be putting the time in. 57. I stand corrected. I said 56 to 57. Which is weird because I didn't see the spears in the hood. But LS motor with tasteful covers to hide it's an LS motor. Now, this truck was on my short list. I thought this one would win for sure. It's a Diamond T. So it's a commercial, little semi, basically, that someone made it more into just a big pickup truck. This would be a supernatural setup for hauling, and you put a Cummins in it, and, put a 1-ton Chevy or Dodge frame under it with a Cummins diesel and an Allison transmission with this body on it, and you got yourself a real winner. Obviously, the owner is not going to be using this thing for hauling cars across state lines. Again, let's be clear. Every single one of these is a couple $100,000. If you're gonna pay anyone, any professional help to do the paint and do the body and do the polishing and everything else, these are $200,000 trucks. Every single one of them all day long without any problems. So, no, it's a Duramax and an Allison, which that combination rocks too. It's a 1-ton Chevy chassis, I am sure, underneath it, custom built. And then they dropped the Diamond T body on it. Well done, gentlemen, well done. F100 with an LS. Again, you can't argue. I think one of the other LSs was a much better job hiding it. This one here looks like it is a unibody as well. It's interesting. We've got 2 unibody F100s. Either that or they blended the body and the cab and the bed together, which I would think would be weird. But if you're unaware, in the early 60s, Ford made a unibody pickup truck. And again, look at the wave form in the bed over the axle. I kind of dig that instead of just doing a big box or something. It's a little more elegant solution. And then the teardrop shape that of the wheel wells that match the openings. 62 unibody. I think that's a really good combination. Really nice setup. Now, it's interesting. This one here has probably the simplest display. It's the least braggy of the contenders. You know, the least, like, you know, so-and-so's paint shop, so-and-so's metal fab, so-and-so's upholstery. So there's so little. There's a couple plaques, some of the builders and stuff. It's got the low, flat, original box floor. So that's a nice truck. Now this one here, this actually won the show. This is what the judges said was the best, and in the write-up they talk about how tasteful and precise and clean and just overall kind of what they felt was America's most beautiful truck. A very clean, purposeful truck. And it did strike me. I don't know if it was a combination of the lighting and the color and everything else, but this was on one of my top threes picks. This 1940 Ford. Those are three throttle body fuel injection system that is set up to look like two barrels. I've seen the setup a number of places. I like it. I like to set up. Anyways, those were all the contenders. And as we move into the closing of our coverage, some additional noteworthy trucks that I like. This one here, it's once again a Duramax powered. This is a 1-ton commercial, heavy duty or medium duty commercial truck that someone put together, probably on a newer cabin chassis. 1952 Chevy with the Duramax, like I said, and the Allison. And I think I would love to have a truck like this or something very similar. That's what it looked like when it rolled into the shop, and this is what it looks like here. Now, would I spend the money on that pretty of a paint job? Hell no, because I'm going to use it like a frickin' truck. Now, same builders had a few other vehicles on display, thought were kind of interesting. You have this one here with an LS motor from the looks of it, with conciliatory valve covers, and another short bed, 67 or 68 Chevy C10, 67 C10 with a blown LS motor. That'll be pretty peppy. And to close, finally, here was an actual cab over Kenworth semi-tractor, someone lovingly restored and presents. And I think it's a great place to say thank you for watching. If you liked our video, please subscribe. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. Really appreciate it. And enjoy your trucks. Get out in the shop, go build something. Use this inspiration to go play with your toys and have a wonderful day.